Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on how to use hashtags or hashtags what the bleep. Did you notice when I wrote my title, I put hashtags where the E's should be? That was fun. All right, so we're gonna talk about hashtags, but before we do, my name is Liz Gracia. I'm founder of the Mind, Body, Spirit Network and the AthenaArena.com, and I help conscious solopreneurs and small service-based businesses with their online marketing and personal branding efforts. I'm also a little bit of a social media kind of guru, a little bit. I know more than most, so that's something. So let's find out how to use hashtags today so you don't have to go nutty and get overwhelmed with the whole thing, though it could be a little overwhelming. All right, so first of all, does anyone know what a hashtag is? How would you do? Anyone want to tell me what your description of a hashtag would be? Anyone want to chime in? Yes, Lori.
I would think of a hashtag is like chumming when you're fishing. You're throwing something out, it's like bait, and people are drawn to it, hook, line, and sinker.
Well, that's a very creative way to describe a hashtag. Thank you. I'd call that pretty accurate. So here's the definition of hashtag. It's a word or phrase, a word, can be just a word, or a phrase preceded by that pound sign, which is now called a hashtag. So if you put the pound sign in front of a word or a phrase, now it's called a hashtag. And it's used within a message to identify a keyword or topic of interest so that it can facilitate search for your potential viewers. You know, if you want to draw in particular types of clients or an audience for your content, the hashtags are going to help people sort through to find what they're interested in. So whenever a user, I'm going to do a little reading, adds a hashtag to their posts, it's able to be indexed by social networks, just like Google. It's just like Google. So if you go inside of Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and you go to search and you do hashtag, whatever the word is, let's say hashtag influencer, you're going to search for influencers. You put the hashtag in the search and then influencer. And then it's going to deliver results, just like Google does deliver results. Now, I'm not sure, you know, if you do a search, like if I do a search in Facebook, I don't necessarily use the hashtag. I use the keyword phrase I'm looking for. So I would assume, I didn't check, that if you just put in the keyword phrase, that it's going to deliver results. But it may deliver different results with the keyword phrase and a hashtag in front of it. I'm not sure, you'd have to check into that. But I know that when I do SEO related posts, you know, I make sure I use keyword phrases that I want to get found. I don't use hashtags in Facebook and I still get found on Google. So you gotta, you know, are you playing with Google, which is really just keyword phrase driven without a hashtag, or Instagram and Twitter, you know, just play with it. Do a search with a hashtag in front of it, see what happens. Like, Lori, do some of your branded hashtags and see what shows up, just to play with it, and then do it without the hashtag, see what shows up. It'd be interesting to see that. I didn't get a chance to do that before this. So that's essentially what the hashtags are for. They're a signal to the searches to sort, to help people to find your content. And once a keyword or picks up enough momentum, it will be considered like trending. I don't know if you've got noticed, like on Twitter, there's stuff that's trending. I don't know if that's true on Instagram. Does anyone know if there's like this trending stuff going on? Or I haven't seen it. You guys have seen it? I haven't seen it.
I get posts on my Instagram homepage that say trending now.
Oh, okay. So if you're active on Twitter and Instagram, you want to pay attention to that, because presumably they're going to send you content that's related to what you're doing so that you can follow other trends, and maybe you'll see hashtags that you can kind of jump on board with. So, and trending topics are unique based on location, for one thing, and based on kind of the content in general, you know. So and the social connection that you're using. So Twitter is going to be different than Instagram and Facebook, Pinterest, blah, blah, blah. And then the algorithms within those networks are different, how they're going to deliver results. But in general, I think they're going to deliver similar results. I think you can trust that they want to give highly relevant content to their users because they want people to stay in their networks and they want them to come back. So Google is like, I want to deliver the best content to my users because I want them to come back and drive revenue for us. So you got to remember that the search engines they have intentions to drive revenue. So the greatest way to drive revenue is to deliver results that people want to see and get a lot of traffic. They want to see influencers drive revenue for them in all the networks. So you got to keep it in mind when you're doing this type of thing. You've got to deliver highly relevant, really juicy stuff that people want to read so that you can trend and you can start coming up in the search engines. So the challenge with any keyword phrase or any hashtag is its popularity. And if there's, high-level people using it, you're going to have a hard time getting at the top of that search unless you've got killer content. Right, Lori? Have you found that to be true?
Yes.
So sometimes you got to create your own hashtags to help brand you but it's going to take time to build up a following on that as well. So you got to get kind of unique on the hashtags that you use. So the geolocation thing, I don't know if you guys noticed in Instagram, you can put a location. Has anyone noticed that in a post? It's kind of interesting. And I started playing with that with Liz Bigger because I'm starting to share her social media stuff on Instagram. So I'm playing with different locations for her. I'm using Stafford, Virginia, because people are checking into Stafford, Virginia, where she lives. She also does healing at the Stafford House of Yoga. So I'm like, let's play with that. So I'm using Stafford House of Yoga as a geolocation because that's where she's working. So we're kind of like getting people in the community getting to know you. It's kind of interesting. And you can see when you use that location finder in Instagram, it tells you how many people are checking in there. So it's kind of cool. So I'm just starting to play with that with Liz. And then I'm like, oh, and I'll use towns around her so that people can get to know her. But where she's doing business, I thought, oh, let's definitely do that, the Stafford House of Yoga. We'll see how that goes, Liz. You got to pay attention to those and use your geolocations, you guys. If you're sitting at Starbucks in Tennessee, wherever, Kentucky,
Not
sorry.
Tennessee.
If you're wearing your red hat today and you're at the Kentucky Derby, you might want to use that geolocation.
Right.
Kind of fun to see how it works. And I'm just starting to use that I'm using Aspen, Colorado, just to kind of get in the community, have familiarity within my community. Okay, so let's start with hashtag basics. There's a few quick rules on how to use hashtags. You don't want to break them. And you don't want to use, like so many people misuse hashtags. And you can tell because there's 10 hashtags in 2 sentences. And it looks like spam, and it is. And people aren't going to love it so much. So I've noticed a trend on my Instagram. I've just started a new Instagram for the Athena Arena, and I'm kind of playing with it to see what happens. And the first couple of weeks, followers grew fast, and now people are unsubscribing. And I think I know why, because I learned something new yesterday. The followership is not growing. It's gone back. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So you don't want to string too many words together. And I showed you Hashtagify Me the other day, and I'll go back to that piece of that online application so you can research popular hashtags. But typically, hashtags with more than 3 words, they don't have any results to deliver. So you got to tighten them up. 2 to 3. 1 is a little of a challenge because it's too general, and in any type of search, a super general one like influencer, I don't know, Lori, although you're having success with it.
Right, and one of the ways that I find out what I will have success with is, because it's so popular, is Instagram. So if you go into Instagram and you type in a word, a hashtag that you're thinking about, it'll bring you up all of the results. If it's got 1 million or more, remember, don't use it. Go to one that's like it that has 250,000 or less. Because if you go to the 1 million or more, while that's wildly popular, you're a very small fish in a very big pond.
Yeah.
If you go with a word that's similar, you're a bigger fish in a smaller pond. The other thing with hashtags is put yourself in your potential, your ideal client's mind. So let's pretend that someone's going to go out to Amazon and they're either anorexic or bulimic. They're not going to look up health, wholeness, wellness, which is what you deliver. So some of the hashtags that I use, my ideal clients are addiction, alcoholism, bankruptcy, body image, emotional baggage, eating disorder, depression. You want to use the words that are your ideal client. So get in their head. They're not going to look up, oh, mental health. They're going to look up depression.
Yeah. They're going to be much more specific.
Exactly. Yeah. So be them. Put their shoes on in the morning when you're writing this and say to yourself, who is my ideal client? And they're the people who have some things, and they're going to look up those things rather than the bright, shiny side of the rainbow. They're going to look up the other side of the rainbow because they want to get to the bright, shiny side of the rainbow. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, you definitely want to stand in your client's shoes, because too many of us stand in our own shoes and say, oh, I do this, that, and the other thing, as opposed to, you're suffering. How can I make you not suffer anymore? Or whatever. You have a problem. Let me solve it. Okay. So, and you do have to pay attention. Super popular hashtags are going to take up, just like on page 1 of a Google search, there's only 10 results. And for popular keyword phrases, you ain't going to get there without paying for it. That's what the deal is with Google. If you want to get found for a highly, I help depression, which would be, you're going to pay for that, because it's already well established in the search rankings, and big concerns already have that positioning because they can afford to keep up with it and pay for it. So same thing with hashtags. Although you can't pay for hashtag positioning right now. I wonder if that'll ever change, become a Google thing. Who knows? All right.
Hey, Liz.
Yes.
I wanted to add to what Laurie said. I've been playing with this since you told me that in Instagram you have up to 30 hashtags, and if you use less than that, you're like leaving money on the table, right? It's like, why would you do that? So I have been struggling with coming up with 30 that I thought fit what Laurie was just talking about, like that weren't the 4 million things, and
Yeah.
And so one of the things I've started doing is on my phone in the notes app, I just have a hashtag note and I'm keeping track there. And it also means I can just go and copy and paste them quickly, or
yeah.
So but it's been hard to come up with 30. Like I haven't made it to 30 every time by a long shot.
You don't necessarily need 30. So, Laura, did you want to say something?
Yes, but make sure, because it's like a lottery ticket, make sure that you do, if you can don't make stuff up just to get 30, but if you can get 30 quality hashtags, do use them. The other thing on Instagram is, remember, don't put your hashtags in your initial message. Get your, whatever you were not changing, you were choosing. That's the quote. Hit that. That's the initial message. But then down in the comments, go back in and comments. That's where you put your hashtags, whether you have 1 or 30. You don't want to clog up that message with the picture that you're posting or whatever it is you're posting. Do not include the hashtags with that initial message. Put them in you be the first commenter, and don't wait. Do it boom, boom, so somebody else isn't commented before you have a chance to get those hashtags in. Does anything I said just make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Was that on Instagram?
Yes, on Instagram. You can't separate them out on Twitter. You can't separate them out on Facebook. You can separate them on LinkedIn. Make sure if you're using LinkedIn that you are business oriented. Don't put something that's fluffy on LinkedIn. You'll be a laughing stock. Make sure it's business, so I have some things that are too soft for LinkedIn. So I don't put them there. If I have a heavy-hitting direct article that's in the Huffington Post or wherever, the Pacific Northwest Idaho Magazine, I will put that in there. But if it's going to be, my granddaughter was just born, I'm not putting that on LinkedIn. Okay.
Was your granddaughter just born?
She was. She was born Thursday at 4:16 p.m. and her name is Luna Blue.
Ooh, nice.
How sweet. So I have one more to that on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has started suggesting hashtags at the bottom. Let's say you're typing in a post and it comes up and suggests that you add hashtags. Are you saying, Laurie, don't add them there? On LinkedIn, also add them in the comments?
In LinkedIn, I wouldn't put them directly in the comments. When they give you that opportunity to put them in at the very end, put them in there. Okay. Don't put them in. Don't put, like if you're saying again, whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. You wouldn't put a hashtag in front of any of those words within a quote, right, or even the person's name, Laurie Buchanan. You would wait until it offers you to put in hashtags and then put those there, so it keeps it separate. But remember, and you're very business oriented, so you wouldn't have something soft or fluffy out there, but don't put something soft and fluffy out there. That's strictly for business. Business. But and then in Twitter, you cannot separate your hashtags. That's part of your, however many characters you get. Yeah. You have to be thoughtful about that. And remember, you can always use it. Let's say that you're linked, whatever you're linking to is kind of long. Use that little bit link, tiny link to shorten that up so you can gain another hashtag or two maybe.
Well, that's a good idea.
Okay. We're going to get to some stats on hashtag uses here in just a moment. So sit tight, you guys. That 30 rule may not be such a good idea, though you can use it. That's what I learned. I'm like, this could be my problem, is stuffing it with 30. Could be why people are knocking it too spammy and maybe trying to do too much in one place. Okay, so you only want to use hashtags relevant to the topic. Don't try to put things in there that are mismatched that people are going to be pissed off about. Plus, the algorithms should recognize the most relevant content. Google does. It recognizes the most relevant content that's not spammy, because people try to use, they don't understand hashtags, so they'll use these popular hashtags that aren't related to what they're doing just to get eyes in front. So that's not going to work, because that's what people will be like, no, which is maybe what will be happening to me on Instagram. I'm not sure. Okay, so from a user standpoint, the hashtags are used to categorize content and making discovery of new and related articles easy. That's all they're for. So don't put a hashtag in there so that someone shows up to read your content and it has nothing to do with what they want. So you're going to make people mad and they're like, no, I don't like you. I'm going to unfollow you, which could possibly, could be what's going on. So super interesting for Twitter engagement. 1 to 3 hashtags, 1 to 2 is best on Twitter, because engagement drops when you do more than that. 1 to 2, that's it. I'm going to show you a little, let me share my screen. Hold on. I want to share with you that. Hold on. I got all this stuff in my way. So I like sproutsocial.com. They're pretty savvy social media marketers that I like to follow, and they have great information to share. And hold on, what's going on here? I'm trying to share my screen. Hold on, it's a mess. All right, so see this graph here I'm sharing? This is the graph of Twitter engagement. One tweet, 1 hashtag, 2 hashtags, the third one, engagement drops big time. So if you're going to take the time to use Twitter, don't use a lot of hashtags. You want to get engagement here. So the average engagement on a post with one hashtag is about 90. Average engagement on a post with two hashtags drops just a little to 80. And then it drops way down to like 50 when you have 3 hashtags or more. So forget it. Get super tight on your hashtags on Twitter. On Facebook, one hashtag. That's pretty interesting. And then, so you're way up here, looks like it's around 1,750 average engagement per post with one hashtag. And then it drops down to around 1,250. So big time drop. Stick with 1 or 2 is enough on Facebook.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
If I'm looking at this chart right, why would you ever use more than 1?
You wouldn't. You don't need to.
Okay, because yeah, 2 is dropping your engagement down significantly, right?
Yeah. So the key is on, where are we? Facebook is you're just going to have to do more posts so that you can spread around your hashtags, I guess. Play with it though, but it's, I mean, these guys have tons of data to support what's going on because they provide services that manage engagement with Twitter and Facebook and all these accounts. So you can see how to develop a hashtag strategy. So this is very eye-opening for someone who can't edit themselves. Like, oh my God, more isn't more better? No, it's not. All right, gang, here's the graph for Instagram. Very interesting. 9 hashtags is peak. I went back to all my buffered Instagram posts and cut out the 30 freaking hashtags I had and brought them down to 9. I'm sticking with 9.
I'm gonna test that this week.
Yes.
I'm gonna see how that works. That's interesting. I get about 10 followers a day on Instagram. I'll see if that drops.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty, I mean, this is pretty compelling. Like, whoa. And I do enough Instagram stuff that I have more than enough opportunity to break up hashtag stuff. So let me show you what I did for myself. Is I created this hashtag document with, I think Lori was talking about copying and pasting things. So these are 30 hashtags. These blocks here are 30 hashtags, which I got to break up. And I have more than enough interesting topics that I could break these up into 9 and it'll be a lot easier. So I have a list of hashtags, and maybe this title here will be related to whatever. What's my key topic? Might be personal branding for this particular group of hashtags, or it'd be personal branding as it relates to women entrepreneurs. So it's the hashtag within the context of the people I want to serve. That's kind of a good strategy to mix it up. So possibly, because I'm mixing up. You know, I like to do, some of these hashtags have to do with consciousness and where power exists. So people that are interested in that are not necessarily interested in branding, which could be a problem.
Right.
So I put the 2 together so that people, you know, I want to attract the 2. I want to attract clients that care about their own level of consciousness and where power really exists. But it's such a kind of a out there topic right now. Not, you know, people are aware of it, but they wouldn't necessarily put the 2 together. So the consciousness thing might do better in the mind-body-spirit network because that's more closely related. So this is what I did. I created this document so that I can just come and cut and paste and not have to think about it. So let me show you this other document I created.
Can I ask a question about
yes.
your hashtag? In the, as I said, I'm a virgin in this. So do you use with each word like be the change? Do you have to make it capital each?
No, but I do, so it stands out.
Okay. Can you use a hyphen?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. So we talked about most big companies have their own branded hashtags, and here's mine: the Athena Arena, Wonder Woman Brands, Brand Builder Bootcamp. I want to get known for this at the moment because they're catchy and they're fun and I like them.
How about your high vibe tribe? That seems like it would be good.
Yes, I'm using that too. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Now, popular or trending tags, I noticed like when I go to Hashtagify, and I'll show you this online application we looked at last week. And I'll show you what I mean. When I put in, so let's just go there now. So this is Hashtagify me. So I don't know if you guys can see the URL here. Or it's just hashtagify.me is the website. So I go into the search a hashtag, and I'm just searching women who inspire, and I did a search. So they're going to give me results. And within the results, they're going to have all these other keyword phrases that are related and around this particular type of hashtag. And you're going to see things that you're going to like, oh, cool. So women who inspire is also women empowering women, or IWD. I don't know what that means. Something having to do with women. There's women in tech here, women power, women empowerment. It's kind of interesting to see. This is where you're going to find interesting hashtags, Lisbeth, for the little virgins out there.
Probably International Women's Day.
Oh, thank you, John. John's following International Women's Day. He wants to go.
The only fellow who has a year on the call, yeah.
Welcome, my dear. Good to see you, by the way.
Hey, yeah, good to see you.
Okay, so let's look at influencer. Let's see what's coming up around influencer. And this is free just to get some basic stuff, and it's enough for most of you guys. For someone like me who's wants to have a hashtag strategy, I'm gonna look at different types of, there's other platforms like Sprout Social. I need to see what kind of, what's gonna give me the most bang for my buck. So let's look at influencer. It's a popular hashtag. And this month's trend is flat, but the week trend is up. But influencers seem to be around marketing, which is interesting. Marketing, social media, SEO, influencer marketing. Influencer is a marketing strategy, and there are brands that want to partner with influencers, that's for sure. But it's interesting to see what else is going on around that word. And this is where, Lynn, you're going to get ideas. Where'd Lynn go? She's still here?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
here.
this is where you're going to get your more than enough hashtags.
Right.
Okay. But you got to remember, super popular ones, you may want to go with the ones that are surrounding it, because you're not going to get any traction if you're in a highly, I don't know what this, I'd assume that 100 is super popular. So the popularity around here might be kind of considered moderate, but worthwhile because you're in a niche market. So what's another hashtag we could check out? Let's check out, anyone want to throw something out there?
Leadership.
See, one word hashtags are going to be a challenge, is my guess, because they are on Google.
But the cool thing about using this tool, which I learned about from you, is you see how popular it is, then you go find the ones surrounding it.
Exactly. So there you go. It's super popular. No wonder. One word hashtags are bound to be super popular. And then quotes. So quotes, HR, interesting. Influence, management, inspiration. Look at the words surrounding that. And maybe we try, I know there's one called Women Who Lead. Whoops, hold on. Which is interesting. Women Who Lead. So you got to get a little creative to try to create a little, if your market is primarily women or men, you'd want to use that leadership and narrow it so that you can get some traction. This is not super popular, but that's okay, because this is my demographic. Women's rights, not necessarily, but Women's History Month, women in business, leadership, women in tech, startup women leaders. So this is where I'd go, and if I click on women leaders, it's probably going to give me some more results, just out of curiosity. Let's do that. Women leaders. That seemed a little bit more popular, I forget now, than Women Who Lead. So this is where you can get ideas as to hashtags. All right. I wanted to share one other thing that I did. I think I do. Let's see. So I created this document just to show you some examples of what to do and not to do. So here's a Twitter post. There's 2 hashtags in there. 2 is the most you really want to do. I could just get rid of one of the hashtags because one is better and know based on my keyword research reports that it's a good keyword phrase. So I could totally knock off brand your business and leave it in there, or personal branding because it fits within the context of this post here. Get rid of the hashtag because personal branding's in there. And the hashtag is brand your business, whichever one I feel is most appropriate. Know that if you're using keyword phrases like Deborah is, she's using her research report. And for those of you who don't know what I do, this is part of what I do, is I develop a keyword report for you and a strategy so you know what to use in your content. So she's referring to that and just picking out a couple of keyword phrases. If you want to stick with one hashtag, put 3 keyword phrases in the content and hashtag one of them. That's all you need to do. Know your keywords, know your keyword phrases. Just don't put a hashtag in front of them. Use them in the context of what you're writing. Here's a big no right here. And I bolded all the hashtags. You don't want to send a paragraph to be all hashtags. That is spam and people are annoyed by it. And they're like, and they know you're trying too hard. And you're not really delivering value. You're saying, I want people in front of my account, and I'm not delivering value because I'm too busy being a horde or whatever. That's what that's saying. That's what Sam's about. Okay. All right. Oh, Lynn, you got to go. Thank you, Lynn. Good to see you, my dear. We'll see you later. Okay. Now on Instagram, I have to test this, but I put 9 hashtags in the paragraph and there's more content here, but it still could be considered too spammy. So I did, let me delete this one. So then I did this one where there's less hashtags in the content and then there's some down here. So you can play around with it. So here's my content. I've got 5 hashtags there, and then underneath I've got 4 under here. And there are a lot of, I'm still getting results with hashtags in my content, though I have heard the whole thing about putting your hashtags in the comments thing. And since I use Buffer, I can't really do that, and I can't keep up with when am I posting that, you know, whatever. So I just like put it in here and I'm still getting results, but I'll have to test the other way around to see if it makes a difference. Have you tried doing that, Lori? Putting hashtags in your posts?
No, I wouldn't, but I recently learned, and I have not tried this, and it makes me wonder, why would somebody want to do this? If you put, before you do your hashtags, if you go ... apparently that hides your hashtags. And I'm not sure why you would want to hide your hashtags. I'm not sure why you would want, I don't know what the value of that would be. And it makes me wonder, are they smarmy? Are they, you know, bleh, or too many, or what? And they're hiding that fact. I don't know. I've seen it done. I've seen the 3 dots, you know, the verbiage, then see the 3 dots with no hashtags, but you know, they use the hashtags, but why hide them? That I don't know.
Right. I read that too. I couldn't get it to work properly. So what do you do? ... and then list all your hashtags?
That's my understanding. Now, again, I haven't tried it. I don't know the value or the purpose. That seems kind of sneaky to me, but maybe there's something wonderful. I have to say right up front, I don't know. I just know it can be done, but why would you do it?
Right. I tend to agree. I think I would want to see the hashtags. And I think tightening up the hashtags makes it easier for the user to scan it. You know, scanning 30, this is annoying. Mm-hmm. But I think, you know, some that are sticking out in the content and then some that are listed here, it's just easier to read. But 9 is the number. So I'm going to go with 9 right now. I'm going to go with the data because I don't do it enough and just see how that goes. But
I'm going to test that too. But my thing would be your example that your cursor is flashing on right now, that one. I think if it were me doing that, I would pull for me, the hashtags in your message. Yep. And I would figure out the 9 or less that work really well and like put them in the comments I don't. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's the one. That's
Yeah.
what I would do. I wouldn't use it. To me, the one right above that kind of smacks
Too much.
Too much. It doesn't sit well with me. But the one below, oh, I'm good with that.
Okay. So big companies are putting hashtags in the content on Facebook because there's only one. So it doesn't look so trashy. And I think one or two, I would agree, looks fine in the content. And again, you can still use that keyword phrase without the hashtag and still get search results. So, okay. So I do want to say a couple other things. Pinterest is not, it's okay with the hashtags, but really only with the pin. It doesn't help you with your boards and your profile, which was interesting. And you don't want to use too many of them. You really don't want to use too many hashtags anywhere, except for Instagram is the biggest hashtag user around. And engagement goes up by 12.6% when their hashtags are used. So you want to use them. You just got to be, kind of discerning about where you use them, right? So Twitter, 1 to 2, Facebook, 1, really, 2 if you want, but you're better off just using keyword phrases in the content. Pinterest, same thing, 1 or 2, but you're better off using keyword phrases, written content without hashtags in front of them. And then for Instagram, you got to play with this. Big companies are doing both. And I assume I know they have the marketing and the staff to watch the data and see what's working. And both of these, they're using this and this format they're using. So you got to test it. And we only have 5 minutes left. And that's really all that I wanted to cut. That's kind of the most key stuff. I did want to talk about how to build, how do you build a Twitter following? And there's 8 tips that I picked up that I'll just mention real quick. You got to tweet frequently. That's a problem with Twitter. It requires a lot of, and this is where you got to keep it short and sweet. You just got to be off the top of your head. And if you can do that, do it. You got to have an image with it though. And they say, okay, so 3 to 7 tweets a day is when you start to maximize engagement. 3 to 7 tweets a day. You got to figure out when the best time to post is, and that's where Buffer and other type of social media platforms, Hootsuite, can help you determine best times a day to tweet. And that'll be determined on where your audience is. If you are in the East Coast and your audience is on the West Coast, you got to go with that time, because it's a little much. But typically lunchtime and after work. That's kind of a general safe bet. But again, if you're on the East Coast, your audience is on the West Coast, then you got to adjust the time. Visual content, they said infographics on Twitter get shared 3 times more often, but you need to be a graphic artist or you buy an infographic to share. It's a lot of work to create infographics, take it from me, but if you can buy some and share them and brand them, you can white label some infographics that you can buy on Big Stock. So what? It's fun. Okay, I think that was about it. Well, there's another tip, and now I don't have them all written out, but anyway, there's your tips. Instagram had some tips too, but we'll pass it on that. We've had enough. We want to let you guys go. We got 3 minutes left. Let me stop sharing. Righty. And did anyone have any other questions about this topic? Hashtags. Does everyone kind of get it? Like, Liz, you have a keyword research report. You can absolutely start there. Start using some of them, especially on Instagram. Absolutely test your geolocation on Instagram. That's fun. Be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah, and so next week, Holly Scalmanini is coming back. She didn't have such a good time with her presentation because she kept getting cut off. She's coming back and she's going to do a webinar on insomnia and how it's related to the heart chakra. I have not been sleeping well lately, so I'm looking forward to that. So she's our speaker next week, and hopefully she'll have a good internet connection so we can have a good webinar. And then the end of the month, we have Johanna Walker, who's going to speak about selling from the stage, how to tell the story. If you want to generate clients from the stage, she's going to talk about how to do that through storytelling, and she's an awesome storyteller. She's here at I think it's October 30th, maybe the day before Halloween, or it's Halloween. I don't remember. And then somewhere in between there, I'm going to do something else. I don't know what. All right, you guys. Great to see everybody. Thank you for joining us. Any other questions? No? Okay, good.
There was one question. It was just like, did you say that writing the hashtags in the text or after? What is best?
I'm sorry, say that again. Oh, either one. Brands do both. Just don't get too heavy on it in the text because it looks too spammy, like
Right.
Lori was just saying.
It's hard to read.
It can be hard to read.
Yeah.
But if it's just one or two with a fair amount of stuff around it, like in a tweet, I would probably do one in the text, one at the end, even though one is enough. Facebook, you can do one in the text. Again, use your keyword phrases in the content without the hashtag. That's the king combo right there.